Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Did you see our new banner ad?
I did. I like it.
Did you like it?
I did.
Yeah. After 14 years, we need to change it up just a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's about time for that.
It just seems like last week we had a show with 2 equestrian ladies who were very friendly with a friend of mine, Claire Bruno, who passed away last June at the horse park.
Oh.
Yeah, the Carolina Horse Park. We all knew Claire as a landscape architect. Lori Heim and Susan Beebe also knew Claire as an eventer and a writer and always working on her craft. It was her passion. And Brian Rosenberg from the Carolina Horse Park joined us. And it was a show about reminiscing. And when I first met Claire about 18 or 20 years ago, she would, just tell me about the Carolina Horse Park, and it just sort of went in one ear and out the other. And I didn't know where it was, and I didn't really know a whole lot about it. But she would, that was her playground.
I bet.
And today, the Carolina Horse Park is a very viable organization that is growing in stature. And it's located a very short 12 to 15 minute drive from, if you're at James Creek off Indiana and Fort Bragg Road, you could not finish a soda by the time it took you to drive from that intersection to the horse park. That's how close it is.
Yeah.
It's right across the county line with a Rayford address, but it really does serve Moore County and a lot of the equestrians living in Moore County today. We want to talk, we're going to speak in the first set with the program director, Marc Donovan, who has been with the horse park in one way or the other since 2013.
I have, yes.
Is that right? And tell us how you, and we're going to also switch on the second set, and we're going to speak with Shannon Habeneck, who is en route to Florida. I think she's going to an event or is going to see her daughter.
Her daughter is riding in Florida, so Shannon's been back and forth a lot this winter.
Well, we're going to get her on the phone during the second set. But tell me about how you got to the Carolina Horse Park and just big picture. What does the Carolina Horse Park mean, and what should it mean to people in Moore County who maybe have heard of it but don't know a whole lot about it?
Well, that is our goal, to bring more people from Moore County to the horse park. And we're hoping that we offer things for everyone to do. Coming up in March is the Carolina International, and we have lots of activities and for the general public. We have a kids zone, and there's lots of vendors. It's a great weekend for people to picnic and hang out and watch competition.
The Carolina International is on Saturday, March the 18th.
It starts on the Thursday, so it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but our 2 premier days are Friday and Saturday, and the kids zone and everything will be open on Saturday.
Yeah, you'll have food trucks, a vendor village, bouncy houses, face painting, which will be open, I guess, Saturday, 10 to 4.
And climbing wall.
Oh, yeah, that's what kids want to do.
Yeah, of course they do.
And it's so funny, there's so many kids that I know, elementary school age, middle school age, they don't have access to a horse farm or to facilities as much as they would like or as much as their parents would like. But the Carolina Horse Park can help fill that bill.
It sure can. We don't offer horse riding there, but we're a competition site. But certainly to peak interest, it's a good place for people to come and check it out.
How did you get to Moore County?
Well, in 1988, I was in Boston. I had been going to Emerson College. I rode horses up there and came down here with a friend and wintered here.
Right.
And I've spent several years just coming down in the winter because it's more mild than Boston. And in about 95, I started to stay year round.
You know, if you took a room of golfers and a room of equestrians who now live here, and you asked them the same question, how'd you get here? They would say the same thing. They came down, they didn't winter down here, but they came down for spring or late fall golf and
Right.
said, oh my gosh, this is a great place to call home. That's a decision that you made too, huh?
Absolutely. It's I love this area now. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
How have the programs since, I guess in 2016, you became the program director of the park?
Yes. Before that, I designed the jumping courses there.
Okay.
Not the cross-country courses, which you see at Carolina International, but the jumping courses that are in the arena. And then in, 2016, I started to work full-time for the horse park.
And this event that's coming up, well, March has got to be one of the busiest months of the year for you.
It's pretty packed.
Pretty packed.
Yes.
It's like your Christmas almost.
It is, yes.
The holiday
You
season.
could say that.
Well, you have events going on this weekend, almost every weekend in the month of March.
Every weekend in the month of March. And at this point, we're running 32 weeks a year. So every weekend, lots of months, we have things going on there.
Tell me a little bit more about this is the 10th annual Carolina International CCI and HT from March 16th to 19th. What are people going to see? Who is coming? Who will be competing?
Anyone who will be riding in the next Olympics for the American team, you will probably see at Carolina.
Wow.
It is an international competition, which means the governing body for that competition is governs all the international competitions. So there'll be riders from all over.
And you'll have eventing, dressage, show jumping, cross country. I mean, there are lots of different.
Yes, but it's the same horse and rider combination. They just compete in those three phases, and then they have a penalty score at the end. So it's like a cumulative competition.
How many participants do you anticipate having? And where are you going to put all the horses?
Well, we have 192 stalls.
Oh, my goodness.
There.
Okay.
And we will bring in extra stalls that stay under tents because we will have more horses than that. I hope to have around 300.
This is to horse riding. I mean, what golf is to the Masters. This is really.
It's up there. Yes, it's an important competition for those event riders.
Most anticipated of the year, or one of the most.
It's actually the beginning of their year, and the riders who are hoping to compete on a team for the United States, their program will run through Carolina. So, they'll have. It's not that they would have to compete there, but they would want to ride there.
Tell us how easy it is to get to the Carolina Horse Park from here in Southern Pines.
It's a cup of coffee away.
Yeah, it's a light cup of coffee away.
Yes, and it's a couple of straight roads. It doesn't take long at all.
Indiana Avenue down to Coldcraft at 211.
Right.
You make a left. You just proceed straight, and it's on the right-hand side.
Pretty much, that's true. Yes.
4 miles from the intersection of Indiana and 211. Is it approximately 4 miles? 5 miles?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just down in Rayford the other day and just drove right by there, and I said, oh my gosh, so many people in Marc County don't know that it's there, and if they got to see it, they would think of ways, how am I going to get back? Again, there are so many kids who want to get involved somehow in work programs.
Right. We've had interns come there.
Right.
Of course, you have to have young people if you want to continue the sport or the equestrian riding. You can't do it without young people.
This is a passion for you, isn't it? What you do.
It certainly is, yes.
Yeah.
I hope that every competition we sort of have a motto that it should be a learning experience. We try to keep horse welfare as a top priority, and hope that we encourage more people to ride horses.
Tell me what people will see at the park. You mentioned you have 192 stalls.
We do. That sounds like a lot.
It
but
sure does.
We need more, actually. So we fill the 192 stalls several weeks throughout the year. So, and we're campaigning to build more.
Do you board horses there, of course?
No,
you
they're
do not
just for
board.
competitions.
Just for competitions.
Right. So the horses come in for the competition and then they leave.
What do you do for a workforce? You bring them in for the event. It's not a steady week-to-week job, or is it?
Right. There's only 7 employees at the horse park.
Oh my goodness!
But there's a lot of contract work that comes in because it takes a lot. It takes a big workforce to keep the place go. Just mowing alone. We have an independent contractor that comes in and does that.
How many acres do you have?
There's about 325.
And that includes all the trails in and around, or are they?
It does, yes.
Wow. So Claire, who I mentioned at the beginning, she would go out there to ride. She'd have her horse, but she would not leave her horse at the park. She would bring her horse with her.
Yes.
And she would go out on the trails with Laurie, I'm sure with Susan at some point. Around the perimeter of the park, the trails become more rustic.
Yes, if you go off the horse park property, you will ride onto someone else's property, and it can be whatever they've established it to be.
The organization is. Tell me how you're funded. How you raise money. You have members.
Yes, we have a board of directors, of which Brian Rosenberg is the chairman.
Yep.
Lucky for us.
Yep.
It's largely based on volunteerism and sponsors and donors. That's what keeps the horse park going. The entry fees alone, so the fees that the competitors pay to come there and ride, don't really keep the doors open because it costs more than that to
I'm sure
have it looking the way it needs to.
I'm sure. So you have these events, and then you have a peak in business, and then in between events, you're always gearing up for these events, and that's your revenue producing.
Right,
leg of
aside from that, there's a sponsorship and fundraising program to add to that, so that we can continue building the park and making it more varied and accept more types of riding. Right now we have driving competitions, carriage driving, jumping competitions, dressage, as you mentioned.
Now you have members. You have people who join as members to the park?
We have a program called Friends of the Park.
Okay.
So yes, if you buy a yearly membership, then you get certain discounts in other areas, maybe entry fees and that type of thing.
And a yearly membership runs?
About $125.
And that gives them first dibs on some of the events that you have, perhaps, or discounts on tickets?
Yes. It won't provide preferential treatment, but it will, give discounts for certain things.
Okay. You've got on your website information about sponsorship opportunities, founding sponsors, sustaining sponsors, cross-country jump sponsors, show jumping.
A lot of sponsors.
Oh my gosh! Well, but you have to, and somebody said to me once, we had a lot of kids on in the arts in this public school system. Not every single student who participates in the arts is going to go on to a career in the arts. But what they're going to get is an appreciation for the arts as they get older. I would imagine it would be no different in the equestrian world.
Right. I'm sure a certain percentage sticks with something, and the rest of them, you're right, have an appreciation for it then, or some knowledge about that.
And you were saying that it's important to get the younger generation involved because they're the ones coming up behind us.
Right, and if we don't have them when everyone else ages out, there'll be no one to ride horses.
That's right. We're going to come back in the second set. We're going to speak to Shannon Habenick. She is the Director of Development and Communications, and I had a chance to speak with her earlier today. She's in Florida, and her daughter is an eventer. Yes,
she is. Yep, and she is training down in Florida
and
wintering there. So Shannon's back and forth.
Well, we're gonna speak to Shannon when we come back, and we will get back with Marc Donovan, who is a program director as well. This is All Things Moore County.
Hey, Bill.
Shannon, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. We are speaking with Shannon Habenick she is the Director of Development and Communications with the Carolina Horse Park. And we just had a real nice conversation in the first set with Marc Donovan, talking a lot about the events coming up this month in March. But more big picture about how much the Carolina Horse Park is becoming a part of our culture here in Moore County. Things have changed a lot in the last 5 to 7 years, haven't they?
They really have. The area itself has always been just a huge area for horses and equestrian sports, and it's really exciting to see how the Carolina Horse Park is becoming more into that kind of community aspect of things. The park, we have over 30 weeks of events each year, ranging in various equestrian disciplines, and all of our events are always open and free to the public. So we really want the community to know that, swing out to Rayford and join us for an event. It's fun to see. The park is gorgeous. It's 360 acres.
Right.
Have you been there before, Bill?
I have.
All right.
It's
eye-popping. Lovely. Yeah, it really is. And a lot of our events have vendors and food trucks, so there's really not many ways that you can better spend a day than at the park with a Coke and a hot dog and watching beautiful horses gallop and jump. It's a great atmosphere.
So many marches in the past. I see all the pictures on social media of the events and the people coming to watch, people who are serious riders, people who are casual, people who just appreciate what you do. And we talked about, it's really funny, it's not more than a 12-minute drive from where James Creek is located on Indiana and Fort Bragg Road, right on down Indiana to Highway 211 in a straight shot out to the horse park as you drive into Rayford.
Yeah, it's not a bad drive at all. It's definitely, worth the experience. So many kids, and we We have activities for children, and it's something really cool with the park is our volunteer program that we welcome children, adults of all ages. There's no experience needed, and we can do full day and part day, half day volunteer options. So parents and their kids can come out and volunteer for a couple hours, and it's a great way to get some of those service hours that kids need, and also spend a day with your parents and learning a new sport, and it's just right down the way.
I don't know that a lot of people realize this year, from March the 16th to the 19th, you're going to have some of the best Olympic or potential Olympic riders visiting to perform in this event, this 3 or 4 day event.
Yes, it's it's very exciting. It's the Sutter's Run Farm Carolina International, and it's the 10th anniversary of the event. So we've got a lot of fun things planned. And you are correct. We have several of the world's top riders coming to compete at the event. Right. So it's going to be thrilling. And we have a fun theme. I'm not sure if you and Marc talked about it, but our theme for this year is First and 10. Which, if you're a football fan, you'll recognize that term.
We haven't spoken about it yet, but please tell me about it.
Oh, yeah. So our theme, First and 10, it's a nod to us being the first CCI 4-star on the eventing calendar, which is a very high level of competition.
Right.
And then the 10 refers to our 10th anniversary. So First and 10. And then with that theme, we are having over 4,000 trading cards printed with moments from the past 10 years, or 9 years rather, of Carolina international history. Huh. So we're hoping that spectators, our volunteers, our sponsors, owners, riders, everyone can come out, and I'm joking and saying, you need to stack your deck with your favorite riders. So it's kind of fun and a way to get the public who may not know the sport as much, give them an opportunity to learn a little bit more, and then to give eventing fans a chance to collect cards of some of their heroes, their favorite riders, a lot of whom will be at this event, and they can maybe get their cards signed. So it's a really fun, hopefully very interactive way to bring the sport even more into the community.
Yeah. With the demographic shifts in Moore County over the last 10 years, where families, you're getting younger and younger families and kids, you are starting to appeal to a much broader base, because we talked in the first set with Marc. We've had kids on the show who are in the theater arts, and even though they're in the theater arts now, it doesn't mean they're going to make a career of it, but they will gain an appreciation for theater arts. It will stay with them the rest of their lives. Same thing with equestrian, watching some of these competitions.
Absolutely, it's a great experience for every kid to be around horses in some way, even if it's just a passing, pat on the nose or talking to an owner. Everyone at the park is always really great and friendly and excited to welcome new people to the sport, to the park. My daughter is 17 now. She did her first event at the park when she was 8. And she's a through and through horse girl. She's got big aspirations, but it's really fun to see where the kids start and kind of where they go, whether like you said, they stay in the horse world or they move on. It's always, horses are magical. It's always fun to be around them and to experience them in any way. Right.
And it sounds like the Carolina Horse Park is trying very hard to cater to that new demographic. Moore County would like to claim the Carolina Horse Park as ours. I know we're 3 minutes off, 4 minutes away off the county line, but so close. It's just it would take you more time to drive from Southern Pines to Seven Lakes than it would to get to the Carolina Horse Park from Pinehurst or Southern Pines.
We're just a short gallop down the way, right?
Exactly. So you have been involved with horses most of your life. It's a passion for you as well?
It is. I grew up riding. I did hunter jumpers, and we still have horses at our house. And then my daughter does the 3-day eventing, which is similar to the Carolina International that everybody could come out and join us for in March. It's the 3-day eventing. And that's where they do dressage, show jumping, and cross country. So people really get to see, the best of the best do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, when you went to college, I don't remember there was a course that you took called How to Fundraise. Do you remember that course?
Oh, I didn't. Was not lucky enough to do that, but I wish I'd had that course. But we do a lot of fundraising and sponsorship out at the park. That's for sure.
They should call the course "Thinking Outside of the Box."
That's right.
Right? You have to reinvent yourself, and you have to always be relevant. And March is, as Marc was saying, March is, if not the busiest month, it's one of the busiest months of your year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Carolina International that runs from the March 16th to 19th is our largest event that we host each year, and it's almost like building a little city, a new city at the park every year. Marc moves the show jump ring. We have gigantic party tents set up. We have a vendor village. This year we're having a kids zone with climbing walls and bouncy houses, and a very cool addition. We've got to kind of finish the new city in the city. We have the Sandhills Trolley company is going to be our shuttle service.
That is
Friday.
so cool that you're doing that.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's actually really that's a great way to bridge the gap.
Really excited. So that'll be fun. But yeah, it's like it's a huge endeavor. The folks out at the park every day, just mowing and just preparing the acreage for an event of this magnitude there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And then people will show up at the event, and it's just beautiful. Never know what it took to make it happen.
A golfer would think that this event that you're having would be their version of the Masters held in Augusta every April, right? It
is. It really is. It's one of the largest events that takes place in North Carolina within our sport, and it's one of the top events going into the year for folks. It's like I said earlier, it's the first CCI 4-star. So it really prepares these top riders of every level, really, but the top riders to go on and go to the big overseas events and stuff. So we're very well known for being the place you kind of go to, make sure your horse and you are ready to take on anything.
Do you notice that each year the events in March that you have are growing?
Yes, it's been really exciting. This event's going off really well so far, where the entries are coming in really well, and we've had a lot of interaction with new sponsors and returning sponsors, which is always fun. And a lot of folks buying tickets. We have the Carolina Club, which is a members-only ticketed tent, and those ticket sales have been great. And it's really fun to see, especially, with COVID. Back in the day, it took a lot out of everybody, and so it's really fun to see the sport coming back and celebrating and really just having fun. It's a fun sport. We're all lucky to be able to do what we do, and it's been really nice to see everyone, getting back to it.
The success of the Carolina Horse Park conjures up the expression, it takes a village, and you have a groundswell of support, and we're going to talk in the third set with Marc about your new title sponsor, some of your presenting sponsors, but they're the backbone, or they provide the bedrock for anything that you do, as jumping off the platform, and because I think you said 30 or 32 weeks a year you have events?
Exactly, yes, we do, and we've got different groups of sponsors, and we have this Carolina International sponsors, and then we have a really successful series called the Warhorse Event Series, and that's got its own group of sponsors. So we do have a lot of sponsors and donors that really help us make these 32 weeks of events happen.
Yeah.
It was really exciting with the Carolina International. Our title sponsor for this year is Setter's Run Farm, which is a local farm. And they had been the CCI 4-star sponsor, and they moved into the title position, which was exciting.
Yep.
And then we have Yanmar America, who is a new sponsor. They have come on board as the CCI 4-star sponsor, which is huge. They have the UTVs and the big tractors and machinery. So gorgeous big red tractors will be all over at the park for the show or for the event in March. So we're really thrilled to have both of those sponsors and all of our sponsors on board. We're very, everyone's very generous and supportive, and we couldn't be more appreciative.
Well, we have set Marc up with headphones so he can listen to our conversation even though he can't participate in it. So we're keeping him up to speed, and he's sitting in the other room as we're in here in the engineers at the engineers desk talking. March 16th to 19th is the event, and it's the 10th annual Carolina International CCI and HT competition. Olympic riders from all over the country, but probably beyond the country as well, who will be coming to the Carolina Park.
Possibly, yes. We've got a lot of big names in the eventing world. We're really excited about the entry list. It's definitely the place to go if you want to see, especially if you've never been to the park. This is definitely an event that will blow you away. It's an exciting one. And
people can go onto your website to look at some of the preliminary publicity, carolinahorsepark.com, and hopefully this event, the 16th through the 19th of March, will be a great starting point for the year. And I know you have other events coming up in March as well. So we wish you the best of luck. And I know you're in Florida with your daughter, supporting her passion. And then you're going to come back and support yours here.
That's right. Get back to it. So, no, we appreciate you having us on and chatting about the park and the International. We're looking forward to a great year.
Shannon, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Bill. Have a great afternoon.
You too. This is All Things Marc County. Welcome back to our third and final set. We're talking all about the Carolina Horse Park. In particular, we're speaking about the 10th Annual Carolina International CCI and HT, which will be held from March the 16th to the 19th at the Carolina Horse Park, just on the other side, just a pencil's length from the Moore County line on Highway 211. And it's a very quick, short drive. And as I told Shannon, we want to claim it as our own, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. It's important to Moore County and to Hope County.
That's exactly right. And Shannon is in Florida. She was going down to support her daughter, who's, I guess, at an event. And it seems like it's in their family's blood as it is in yours.
Yes, that is very true.
So we are at the beginning of March, and it's one of your busiest months. But it's also, because you're a nonprofit organization, you have a tremendous amount of, you have a great relationship with you have sponsors that are very important to the integrity of your program.
Right, and some of them are personal friends and people that have always been in the horse world and have interest in the horse world. So Setter's Run Farm is our title sponsor this year. She was the 4-star sponsor, which Shannon mentioned, but when the availability came to be the title sponsor, Annie, who's a dear friend of ours, stepped right up to the plate. And it's important. We need sponsorship in order to keep the competitions going and to have all the extra things that we like to have at competitions, like the trade fair and et cetera.
I was going to ask you very quickly, many of the competitors that are coming in March, how do they perceive the Carolina Horse Park? Is it just one of the stops on? I almost liken it to golf. It's like one of the stops on the tour because they have a circuit that they have to attend.
They do have a circuit. I like to think that what sets us apart from the other venues that are similar to ours is, well, we have Brian Rosenberg for one, and they don't. So he he's amazing. He's very generous with his time. He's very involved in what happens at the park. And we've come a long way since he's been the director.
So very humbly, you're saying that the riders who come to compete look forward to coming to the Carolina Horse Park.
I think so. We try to keep it tidied up and mowed and beautiful. And we have good course designers. Our cross-country course designer comes over from Scotland, actually, from Great Britain to design the courses for us. So he's one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world.
And the sponsorship list that you have shows a lot of loyalty from a lot of people that have had long-term relationships with the park.
Yes. So Setter's Run Farm, as I mentioned, they're a local farm in Southern Pines. They have a breeding program. They have a top-notch rider that works for them and competes their upper-level horses. So they're super instrumental in the whole sport. And we're lucky enough that they live in Southern Pines and the horse park is important to them. And Lumbee River Electric is, so of course the electric company that does a lot of work around there. And because we're always growing and adding to what's happening at the park, for instance, we have to add to the RV hookup spots, but you need power to do that. So we have this great relationship with Walter White at Lumbee River, and we get to do that type of thing that would be harder for us to make happen if we didn't have them.
If people go on your website, CarolinaHorsePark.com, they'll see all the events that are coming up this month of March. March 31st comes, April 1st rolls in next. You look back on the month of March this year. What do you hope to have achieved this particular month coming up?
Well, we are hoping that we'll grow in entries and have more people know about the horse park, and especially local people experience something at the horse park and come and join us at the horse park. It's a stressful month for us because the Carolina is such an important competition.
Yep.
So after we get through the nightmares of waking up wondering what we forgot to do, it will be very satisfying that we got through it.
Adding to the not the pressure, but maybe the pressure, is you have been blessed with some beautiful weather days in the last couple of years, and you had some days that have not been so friendly.
I don't know whether to think about that ahead of time or just wait until it.
You can't control
wait
it.
until it happens. But of course, if there was one weekend a year that had good weather, I would hope it would be March 16th to the 19th.
It's your Masters. It's your Augusta.
Right.
And everyone keeps their fingers crossed that the weather.
And we'll roll whether it's good weather or not. But it certainly adds to the experience. People feel like they had a better time when the weather is good.
Exactly. We started the show talking about Brian Rosenberg, who was on the show with Lori Heim and Susan Beebe. And I understand, I think I've been speaking to Susan a few weeks ago. Is this month the month they're going to
reveal the garden for Claire Bruno?
The memorial garden?
Yes. So as I mentioned, Brian is extremely involved and important to the horse park.
Yeah.
But since Susan had such a great relationship with Claire,
she did.
She has really stepped up to the plate and fundraised to put this garden together, and it's really beautiful.
Susan, I had the pleasure and the privilege to meet her when we taped the show. She's a very cool lady.
She is.
She really is. There's something about her. And what we had in common was Claire, but we came from two different places, but I don't think we had a problem at all meeting in the middle. And Claire left us in June of last year, so just short of a year, she's raised some serious money to
Yes.
put this.
And the garden's going to be really beautiful. It's got
Yeah.
little pathways through it, and a
Yeah.
horse sculpture, and a gazebo.
Yeah.
It will be really nice to remember Claire through this spectacular garden.
Claire had a lot of people that loved her, a lot of family members who miss her, and I'm sure they'll all be in attendance. This is going to be an exciting month coming up, and people, you have a Facebook page.
The horse park does, yes.
And does Shannon handle all the social media?
She sure does.
So she is the one that was not taught that in college. She was not taught how to fundraise in college. She had to learn it on her own, how to fundraise outside the box.
Right, which is pretty amazing.
Yes.
Job well done for her. It's right. You're right. There's not a class that teaches that, but she picked up the reins and went with it.
So she's resilient, and she has a great lilt in her voice. Doesn't
Much
she?
more dynamic than I am, for
no.
sure.
I mean, I spoke to her this morning at length.
That's her way.
Yeah, I said to her, "You're like a second cup of coffee for me." I got a little more caffeine in me, and I enjoyed talking with her very much. The Carolina Horse Park is we think it's part of Moore County. It's close enough, and we very much hope that people will go out and attend the event, March 16th to the 19th. Bring your kids. It'll be a very special time.
It will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Marc, we appreciate you coming in,
Thanks so much. It was great to talk to you.
and I hope we get a chance to do this again down the road.
That would be nice.
Thank you. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week. Thank you.